Hello, peoples of the internet. My name is Maximum Illusion, and welcome back to another video on Warframe. Is it Immortal? Today we're doing something on Nekros Prime, or Nekros for those of you who don't actually have him yet. So, once again, this video is going to be basing around just how hard to kill can we make Nekros, and once again, we are basing off of our little crypt build that we had going in the last episode with my War of the Dead Prime here with the all the little extra stuff on we have for crit. So for Nekros, his big little abilities that he has, as far as to make himself as tanky as possible, is mods on Shadows of the Dead, which is for his fourth ability that makes him so that he takes, I believe, 7% less damage for each so-called zombie that he spawns in with his fourth ability. But I'm going a little off track on this. I'm actually going to go with a Despoil augment in order to make it so that his third ability, Desecrate, consumes 10 health per corpse instead of using energy. Mainly because, as an energy build, we're going to need as much energy as we can possibly stuff on this thing. Now, because I rely off of Rage and Hunter Adrenaline to keep my energy up, I'm going to be going with as little shield as possible. And I'm going with Gladiator Finesse, as well as Gladiator Resolve and Gladiator Aegis as the 3 Gladiator mods you can put on Warframe, just so that I can keep my crit chance up. So I also have stuck on maxed Vitality, and Gladiator Resolve also helps with having that huge amount of health. And then we go with my classic Handspring. So I formatted Nekros wrong, and so Physique is the only mod that I can actually put on it right now that's even moderately useful. What I would recommend is putting it as a Forma Fermaduri, just so that you can put on that Steel Charge for that 60% increase in melee damage, because that's going to be really useful. I have my classic Handspring, so that you can get up faster in those later levels where you can get one shot really easily, especially with this character because he has such low health and such low shield compared to the other Warframe Inaros that I did in the last episode. So as far as his abilities, which is something I actually forgot to cover in my last video for Naros, which I'll probably be doing a reboot of sooner or later, don't really know when. As far as his abilities go, we have his Soul Punch, which is a blow so mind-blowingly awesome and game-breaking, it can literally punch the soul out of a robot. That's right, a robot. Just casually punch the soul out of a robot. Don't even know how it works. Another game-breaking ability, Terrify, which can literally put fear into something that is programmed to be fearless. Another robot. Um, they're two very. It's Soul Punch is it's an ability you're not going to use very often unless you're doing long survival missions with other players. Mainly because you can get a augment for it, a mod that makes so that you can actually punch life back into your allies that have gone down and revive them to 30% health, which is really useful for those longer games. Terrify is more of a defensive ability. A lot of people don't really use it because it has a limit on how many enemies are affected, and so it's very limited in how well it actually works. It's good for fighting Grenier just because it reduces armor, but honestly, if you're fighting up against Grenier, you should probably put Corrosive on your weapon anyways, just because it'll be more effective. And then there's Desecrate. Desecrate is what we're going to be mainly using for this build just because it gives us a huge amount of health drops that you can absorb with using Vacuum on your Sentinel, which is incredibly useful, especially when you're using Desecrate, because Desecrate increases loot drops by 54%. So you have 54% more loot dropping from enemies. That is really useful. I mean, it's the ultimate farm build. A lot of you are going to say, well, what about Shadows of the Dead, and why don't you have an augment for Shadows of the Dead that make it so that you have that huge damage reduction? Honestly, you can switch them out. So you could switch out Despoil for Desecrate, or you could switch out the Shadows of the Dead mod. I don't actually remember the name of it. I'll look it up later just so I know it. But you can switch them out either way, and it doesn't really matter. Because either way, he becomes incredibly tanky. With Shadows of the Dead, with that augment, it makes him so he takes a huge amount less damage, Desecrate with the despoil mod for Desecrate, it makes it so he just regenerates his health insanely fast. And then here's his passive ability. His passive ability is what everyone considers as what makes him so tanky, just in the fact that he restores 5 health for every enemy that dies near him. Every single one. Meaning, you could have, if you have Desecrate going, absorbing and summoning and all those extra health orbs, because most of the drops that come off of enemies with Desecrate are in fact health orbs. That's why Despoil is so good for farming. But with his passive ability, every time you kill an enemy, you restore health, and then you Desecrate them and have like I'd honestly put it at like a 75% chance that the extra drop you get off that enemy is a health orb. So I'd put it at around 25% chance that you're gonna get a health orb out of them, which is pretty freaking high. So because of that, you're restoring health insanely fast. Granted, it's a lot easier for this guy to get one-shot by enemies that just do an insane amount of damage, but in the long run, he is a lot more effective for doing really long farms. As far as what I would say, the companion thing is something you're really going to want to go for. As far as going with either a Taxon, Shade, Death Cube, just one of these in general. I would personally go for the Shade just because it has such a high amount of health, but the biggest mod you're going to want for this build, it's probably the number one thing that's going to keep you alive, is Vacuum. Mainly because it detects and collects items within 11.5 meters of its master, including mods. This also includes health orbs. So every single time you desecrate a corpse and use 10 health to do that, your vacuum is going to literally suck whatever health orb is near you towards you so that you can absorb it. It's really, really useful. Combine that with calculate with all of these mods just to make him a little more tanky, and he can survive for a long time. I mean, because of all the health drops that you're picking up, they also go to your Shade or whatever Sentinel you choose, and because of that, their ability to regenerate their health is almost unmatched. That, equipped with the huge amount of damage coming out of my War of the Dead Prime, you literally you won't die for a while. I'm not gonna say forever because I don't think he has the capability to go forever, but I will say you will go for a long, long time with this build. As far as mods that you can switch out if you need to, I can say if you need to, you can switch out Aegis, Resolve, and Finesse for whatever mods that you deem that you really absolutely need. I don't really know what I would put in there, because honestly, builds like this, I usually go with my crit build, so I'm instantly down by 3 mods, depending on what I want to put on there. You can draw, honestly, the only mods that I would say have to be on there are Vitality, Despoil, and Handspring. The other mods, and Flow. Flow is almost a guarantee you want to have on there, because Flow will give you the energy to keep going in those long runs, especially when you want to be summoning a lot of enemies, depending on what you put in for Despoil. If you put in Despoil or you put in the Shadows of the Dead augment. Physique I honestly don't like having Physique there. I'm just too lazy to form this guy right now and put in the Steel Charge, but I would recommend having Steel Charge for the extra damage. And other than that, I can't really say much about this build. He's pretty tanky. He's not the most tanky I've ever seen. But as far as builds for Nekros, I'd say he's pretty good. I mean, he's not perfect. I could still use a primed flow. I could probably switch out Vitality or maybe even Hunter Adrenaline for a primed Vigor or just a regular Vigor even. Although, honestly, I probably wouldn't switch it out if it was just for a regular Vigor. As far as the weapon, I'm still using the exact same. What I would change out on my weapon for Nekros Prime, he's not going to need Life Strike as much as he did before, so I could probably drop off Life Strike and put in Volcanic Strike or Rending Strike, or I really don't know what I would put on instead. But you can definitely switch out Life Strike for a different mod. You can probably switch out Berserker for a different mod. But other than that, all the others if you're not going for a crit build and you're dropping off all the Gladiator mods, you can probably drop this off for something else as well. So if you drop off Life Strike and Gladiator Might, you could probably put on, I don't know, 2 elemental mods. Get yourself some elemental damage going. That would probably be useful. But I personally like my build just because having that Life Strike and having that huge energy regen from losing health is really useful. Other than that, I'd say this build is about as maxed out as it's going to get. So, if you guys enjoyed this video, if you liked what I've made here today, leave a like, comment, subscribe, all that good stuff. Hit that notification bell if you really want to. As for my next build, I'm definitely going to be doing one on Nidus. I recently got him. I've been working on I've got him maxed out right now, but I haven't actually formatted him at all. So I still need to format him, get him maxed out. And if you guys are really enjoying these videos, please tell me what Warframe you want me to do next. I mean, I'll do my best to get a hold of it eventually. It'll definitely be first on my list. And if you guys have any ideas for an upgrade I can do my build, just tell me in the comments below, and I will look into it. If I really like it, I'll give you a shout out in my next video. And I hope you all have a lovely Christmas holiday.